Welcome back to Boat and Blade. We're going to be doing some custom battles today. We got the Empire on one side and the Vlandian ships on the other side. So it's Dromon versus round ship. Let's go. I'll be putting Nate into the Dromon and Nata on the round ship. This is so we're using the mariners of each faction because we want to do Vlandian Navy versus Empire Navy. I'm going to be playing as Empire because I usually play Vlandia in my gameplay lately. And I've already used round ships in many battles quite successfully against the Empire. And so I wanna try seeing how it is from the Empire side. I'm making sure that both ships have fire pots and are fully upgraded. Also because of the capacity of the ships, I'm deciding to use full capacity. And in this one, the winds are towards the defender, meaning that the Vlandians are going to be having the winds come towards them, and I'm going to be able to use my sails very effectively with the Dromon, and that is going to be a game changer. In my opinion, the amount of troops a ship can have on its deck is a feature of the ship. So in this case, we will be having the full crew count for each ship, even if that means that there's more Imperials on the Nate on the Dromon than there are Nata on the round ship. That's fine. I think honestly, based on my experience with the Nata and the Nate in the game, I think that the Vlandian Nata is much better than the Imperial Nate, both in missile superiority and in melee fighting superiority. So we're also going to test some rounds where the winds are going in different directions so that we'll see what it's like when the Dromon doesn't have wind to its favor, so that it can't use the ram very well. And yeah, so we're going to test out a bunch of different versions, and then we're also going to test out, I think, version without the fire pots and see how that goes. So yeah, with the wind on my side, we're gonna make some massive damage. I would suspect coming in. The Dromon is a very heavy ship, and it moves fast when going in one direction with the wind. We're already firing at each other. They got a hit. I missed, so I'm gonna try to lock in here, shoot at them, see what happens. My main goal is to get that ram, though. I mean, this is what the wind is for. We're moving very fast. We're a heavy object and moving at speed, just like a car collision. Boom. And actually, we take out their fire pot ballista. That's massive. So as you can see here, if you're using a Dromon against enemy ships of any kind, especially if they have if they have a ballista, if they have artillery, the ramming capacity of such a large ship that moves fast in one direction with the wind is immense. However, in most battles, you won't be able to use it that way because the wind might not be at your favor. Maybe. So if you're lucky, yes. But if you're not lucky, no. But that's a huge advantage. And then if the wind isn't going the way you want to go, then you're just not going to get a ramming like that. The ram's really not going to be very useful at all. Maybe it kills like a few enemy troops, but that's about it. Got some good shots in there with the fire pot. They can't even shoot back with the fire pot. So all the kills that have happened so far have been from artillery and the ramming of the ship of the round ship. We rammed the round ship with the Dromon, of course. But there has been no kills from the Nate and Nata shooting at each other or throwing javelins at each other. Just, there's been some hits. Oh, someone died. We lost a guy. We lost a guy to the crossbow. I am actually trying to get closer to them, but I'm having some difficulty because the Dromon is very difficult to turn and maneuver. It's not the most agile ship. It's very fast when the wind is behind it, but when the wind is not behind it, it's very difficult to move compared to other ships. I would even say the round ship is easier to move when it comes to turning. But the acceleration on the Dromon when the wind is in your favor is top notch. It's pretty fast. So that's why I'm shooting them, because we're taking hits because they're outclassing us at distance with the crossbowmen compared to the throwing javelins. I'm not a big fan of throwables. I think javelins are better than the throwing axes, but yeah, I would prefer bows. I think bows, longbows, recurve bows, and the crossbows are the best as a projectile weapon in the game. So we're getting close. We're gonna try to board them. We're still getting wait, we moved too fast. I need to lower the front sail. Maybe we just see how the maneuvering is. Even when we were close, the Nate couldn't get any kills with the javelins, and they're not even using the oars right now. I made them so that they're not using the oars so that they can throw. Even when they were close, they weren't using the oars, and they didn't get any kills, so that's kind of crazy. I think we would turn faster with the oars, of course. However, even with the oars, it's not that much of a difference when you're using the Dromon, because the Dromon's just a giant. It's very long, it's very large, and that's just what's causing sure, it's narrow and it moves fast going forward, but just its size and its length is going to cause it to turn slowly. So, makes sense. Here we're turning quite well, but we're just using the wind to make like a large turn, and as you can see, they are turning as well so that their side is facing us and that we can't really turn into them. So this always makes sure, because it's actually harder to shoot at a target when it's not facing you, when the ship is showing its side. So right now I'm shooting at their port side, which is the left side. The right side is the starboard side. And I'm also trying to shoot at the stern of the ship, but their stern of the round ship is much more defensible than on the Dromon. So I'm not getting that many kills. This ship is essentially much harder to hit because it's harder to guess the distance than it is to guess the general area. So like you might overshoot it. I'm talking also about you might overshoot it with the javelins or the crossbows. So we got enough kills with to finally move in confidently and dominate. I mean, it's still pretty back and forth. I think if we just went straight to boarding and there were more Nata, we would have some problems, because the only reason why we're winning this is because now we outnumber them by using the fire pots to dwindle them down. And yeah, so when they're also not facing us and they're just turning with us, they're able to get away and, move forward, and it's like they're just circling each other. And then they're able to fire, and it's difficult to hit them, so I think that was a good strategy from the AI operating the Vlandian round ship in this custom battle, because I don't think that the Dromon moves very well in that situation. It moves very fast, acceleration wise, going forward. Of course, like I said, it would be better if I used the oars more. But in the end of the day, we were able to use the ship's advantage of the ram and the fire pot and dwindle them down so we can get in for the melee and win the battle with them outnumbered. Remember, we also start off with more troops because the Dromon is able to have more troops on deck. So if you dwindle down their numbers ahead of time, you're operating at a huge advantage when you board. Now let's change some things up for the next custom battle. We want to see that the wind is going towards us now. We're the attacker. Now I'm not going to be able to use that ram. The ram is not going to work as well. As you can see, the sails are not going the right direction. Okay, we got a little bit of wind. No, but if we want to go straight, it's going to be difficult. What you could do, if you want to go a little bit faster, you could sort of flank from the sides by going to either side and getting a little bit of wind there. See, I'm doing that with the front sail here. I'm just closing the back sail. And since we're not going to use the ram, because we're not going to, at this point, we're not going to get a really nice initial ram in, so it's not really going to be as valuable. Especially since once we get getting close, and if we're not boarding, it's going to be a little bit of cat and mouse. Might as well just focus on the fire pots. They are a little bit far, and it is a bit bumpy, so I missed. They have hit us, though. No kills on either side yet. Oof, that one killed. See, if you shoot at the stern of the Dromon, it has this arch, and a lot of the troops gather up there. And because the troops in the rest of the hull are on either side rowing, it's actually easier to shoot the troops on the stern who are bunched together on this slope. On the round ship, the troops are much better protected on the stern of the ship, because they have this under the platform area that's protected, and then they have the platform which is very also very protected with the shields and with the height. It's hard to hit. I mean, we could hit them now actually if I just turned into that. I think I'm having trouble with the ballista. Sometimes when you're getting close, for some reason it stops functioning properly. I don't know what that is. Well, we were trying to get some rams in there while we were close, even though it didn't work very well. We did get some kills by ramming and getting close with the javelins, mostly with the ramming. But as you can see, it's not going to be devastating like in the last game where we had the wind on our side. It's really not going to be a game changer. You can kind of use it to ram a little bit, nudge a little bit, and maybe take out some guys on their deck who, I don't know, tripped and broke a leg or something. Or you hit them with the ram as the waves. The only way to really do that, yeah, you have to use the waves to your advantage. So when the waves are going, when you're by the boat and the waves are going up, you kind of want to use that wave going down motion to hit them with the ram real close and maybe take out 1 to 3 guys at most. Here I'm trying to see if I can use the ballista, take out their ballista, their artillery. It's not working. Not working as well as with the ram. You can do it though. It is possible to take out the enemy artillery with your artillery. It is possible. But it's not as effective as with a large initial effective ram to the front of the ship. But yeah, when I'm playing as Vlandia with the round ship and I'm facing the Empire and there's Dromons, I just shoot initially at the back of into the back stern of the ship where they have that area where that staircases up to the somewhat of a platform. I mean, it's really very poorly designed for defense against projectiles, but yeah, so you get a lot of kills if you shoot the stern there, and then afterwards, if they're boarding, you shoot at the guys boarding because they all bunch together. So we're just trying to see if we can get in closer. Right now we're trading kills. They've killed some of our men. We've killed some of their men. Trying to get some shots at them. And hit them with the ram a little bit. But it's just cat and mouse a little bit because we can't really... it's a bit difficult to operate without the winds always in your favor. And since the wind's only in our favor when we're sort of behind them, when we're passing them, then it's like we're slow again when we're turning towards them again. So it's so unfortunate. I do want to see how either side does at distance before I move in for the boarding. That was a good shot right there. Yes. Trying to see if I can take out that artillery again. What's really great about the fire pots is it's the best for taking out the troops, and honestly, that's the most important thing. There's other artillery if you want to sink ships, but I mean, you're gonna want to sell the ships in the game, so you don't really want to sink them. You just want to take out all the guys on the ship. That's the point of the battle, is to take out the enemies on the ship. We're doing really well with the fire pots here. It's our last shot though. Oh, we missed. So now I'm gonna go in for the boarding. We've lowered the sails. Ooh, we get a nice ram in here too. No kills though, no kill. Oh wait, 2 kills. But I think that's with... those are our javelin guys who got those kills. It's still looking like either side has a fair chance, to be fair. And the thing is, they do have... see, they have this... the round ships have a much better defensive area on the back. It's like a little castle, and they're able to shoot down from there, and they're able to kill us as we're trying to board. And they're also very good with melee with their shields. I really don't like the design for the back of the Dromon. I think the Dromon definitely has its advantages, but that's not one of them. That's where the round ship shines. Okay, we're winning. We're taking them out. They're getting some good javelin tosses in there. Pretty good. That's pretty good. At this point, I don't think there's any coming back for Vlandia here. Honestly, I think if we moved in earlier and I didn't shoot all the fire pots, it probably wouldn't have gone this way still. And since we couldn't ram them any better than we did, given that the winds weren't to our advantage, this is probably the best way it could have gone for us. Both ships are very great. They're just designed for slightly different strategies and tactics. They have different advantages and different disadvantages. So now we're gonna do the third test, custom battle between these two very powerful ships of the sea, very powerful naval factions in the game. the defender does not have the wind advantage and the attacker has the wind advantage. So we're gonna give the wind advantage to the Dromon again. Now, I know they both have ballistas, so they do have artillery, but we're barely going to use them. These ballistas aren't much better than just having a single crossbow. I mean, a Fion champion is going to outshine these ballistas in any game in any battle situation you play. The ballistas without fire pots or any other, the ballistas are probably the worst of the normal ballista are probably the worst of the ballista options that you have in the game. So we got a good ram in there. And because, you know, they don't really have much artillery to take away anyways, it doesn't really matter whether we got rid of their artillery or not. But the Dromon does have that capacity to just smash a ship with powerful fire pots and destroy its mass projectile damage capacity. So without the fire pots, I think both ships are disadvantaged, but I would say it's probably more advantageous for the Dromon, because the Dromon, I mean, it can carry more troops on the top. It has a ram. However, it doesn't have those really nice. It has a platform on the front and the back, but they're not as good as the round ship platforms. And because it's so narrow, it's actually a little bit easier to hit troops on the Dromon with fire pots, or even with just crossbows or arrows, with bolts or arrows, because they're just closer together than they are on the round ship. Where the round ship is very wide, so the guys rowing are kind of far apart. We're gonna get a little probably mini ram here. They've gotten more kills than us so far just because they have the distance advantage. We're trying out the ballista a little bit, but I really don't like the ballista without fire pots or without the metal, like shot put ball things. The little cannonballs, those ones are also pretty good. Or the stone balls, those are also good. Okay, now you see we're getting some kills there. That was nice. They're throwing the javelins. It's looking a bit even. But it's a tough one. I think the Naute are doing slightly better at melee, and the Vlandian Naute are doing much better when it comes to distance. When it comes to firing at distance. But it's close. It's very close. It's very close. As it comes to the end, it's looking a bit. The difference is growing exponentially as the Vlandia numbers dwindle. I mean, they definitely get kills with their javelins, but it's not as many as they get when they're, I think, fighting in the melee. I think we ought to test this out one more time with the wind coming towards the attacker, meaning towards the Dromon, where the wind is not at the Dromon's advantage. And in this game again, they just have the ballistas without the fire pots. So basically, they have nothing. These ballistas are so insignificant when they don't have any serious upgrades. When they have the upgrades, they're the best in the game. I mean, especially if you want to fight a lot of naval battles, why do you want to risk your crew every single naval battle? For instance, if you're like in my Nord playthrough, the advantage of the Nords is that they have very strong troop tree. They move fast on the seas. Besides that, they don't have any projectile advantage. They don't have any ramming advantage. So their strengths are their troops. And when your strengths are only your troops, that forces you guys to always put your troops on the line. That means it's going to be difficult to maintain keeping up with many battles back to back, because your troops are going to take a lot of losses, especially at first. I mean, as they get better, they're going to get better every single time, and then you're going to take less losses. But initially, it's a grind. It's just a meat grinder when you're playing as a faction with only troop advantages. I mean, the ships definitely have speed advantages, but so we got a little bit of a ram in. However, they've killed also a number of us with, I don't know why the sails. We gotta put the sails back up. Yeah, they're just shooting at us and taking us out, even though we got some kills with that ram. We need to get in there. I think I took out that guy. No, he's not dead. I think I just shot the ship. Yeah, I really don't like that ballista. Oh, they're trying to get away. They're trying to get away. So now we're gonna ram them. It was a trap. They were trying to get away thinking we're gonna board them, but we were planning on ramming them the whole time. Oh, it didn't help much though. They ended up just shooting a volley all at once and taking out our guys, while our ram was pretty ineffective. Whew. I think the crossbow fire has left us at a disadvantage here. So I'm not going to get involved because I want them to fight it out. Yeah, this is not looking good for the Empire. This time, because I didn't have very good ramming capability, given there was no wind advantage, and there's no fire capability with no fire pots, Thing is, with the fire pots, it could go either way because the AI isn't as good at using fire pots up close. They're not as good as using artillery in general up close. At a distance, they shoot very well. Like if you can't shoot at up very far, just let the AI do it. It'll do okay. But when up close, it doesn't really use it to the full advantage that the artillery allows. So now we see here in this battle, it's just which ship and which troop does better, without seeing which fire pods, because before we got rid of a lot of them with the fire pods, so we were able to win the boarding rumble much easier. However, because they just outmatched us with both their firing capacity and their ships' height advantages with their castle-like structures, and just the fact that the Nada does basically just as well when it comes to shield and sword combat as the Nate. So it just depends who gets more kills from the projectiles. So as we see here, the Vlandias come up on top. If you're playing as Vlandia and you're using the fire pots, use the fire pots. You're going to wipe out the Dromon. If you're playing as the Imperials and you're using the Dromon, you need to ram them and shoot those fire pots right into them as soon as you have the opportunity with the winds at your back. Take out their artillery, take out as many men as possible, and then engage when their numbers are dwindled. You gotta remember, the Dromon was carrying more troops than the round ship, so they won still in this battle, even though they had less troops on their ship. So you gotta take out some of their men with the ram and the whatever artillery you have, and then move in. You're gonna lose guys to their crossbows because they're gonna outmatch you from a distance when it comes to the range units fire. But as you can see here, yeah, they have a way better defensible position from the stern with their castle-like structure in the back, this top structure and this bottom structure that's very defensible. Look at this thing, the Dromon. It's almost like your target. It's wide open. You shoot at the stairs there. You get kills. You shoot into that platform area. You're gonna get kills. Like the Dromon is not very defensible. That structure in the back is not a defensible position. So, I mean, maybe it's defensible against other naval situations, but when you're playing as Vlandia in the game and you shoot into that rear area, you're shooting into that stern area of the ship on the Dromon. You're gonna get a lot of kills. So you gotta use that ram, use your artillery, and try not to get killed by the crossbowmen. Hope they don't shoot you at the stern of your ship or at the on the side close to where your men are rowing. And then once their numbers are dwindled a bit, you gotta board them. So that's the way to win as the Imperials. And if the wind's not on your side, do your best to ram and use the artillery. Get over artillery, ram, and get close to them with the javelins. Try your best. And that's all for today. Catch us next time, Blade. I'm going to be posting more often. Naval tactics, war sales, and check out my other channels where I do other stuff, art, music, whatever. And like and subscribe. Blade, let's go. Let's go. Blade, let's go. Oh, whatever.